You are being lied to right now, not by a stranger, by someone you trust. And the part that should disturb you most, you already sensed it, you ignored it anyway. Your instincts are not broken, they are being overridden by the wrong signals in the wrong order. Reading people is not a gift, it is a skill, and it is learnable in a single conversation. But first, you have to understand why you keep getting it wrong. Your brain makes its first judgment about a person in 100 milliseconds before they say a word. And that judgment, it is based almost entirely on what that person wants you to see. Psychologists call this impression management. You call it charm, charisma, good energy. It is a performance. Everyone performs. The question is, what are they performing over? That is the only question that matters when you are trying to read someone fast, not who they are, what they are covering. In the 1960s, psychologist Paul Ekman spent years cataloging the human face. He discovered that certain facial expressions are universal. Every culture, every continent, no exceptions. Fear, disgust, contempt, anger, sadness, happiness, surprise. 7 emotions, hardwired in. They cannot be fully suppressed. What Ekman found next changed everything. When people try to hide those emotions, the face flashes them anyway, in a fraction of a second. He called them micro-expressions. 1/5 of a second. Blink and you miss it, but your body catches it. That gut feeling you dismiss as irrational, it is your brain registering a micro-expression your conscious mind did not process. You are already reading people. You just are not listening to yourself. So here is the system. 4 layers. You apply them in sequence. Every time. Layer 1, the baseline. Most people skip this. It is why they fail. You cannot read a deviation if you have no baseline to measure against. Before you read stress, before you read deception, you read normal. What does this person look like at ease? How fast do they talk? How much do they touch their own face? Do they hold eye contact or float away? You are cataloging their normal. You are not judging. You are calibrating. Ask them low-stakes questions. Talk about the weather, their commute, something they visibly enjoy. 3 minutes of genuine baseline gives you the frame for everything that follows. Now introduce the real topic. Watch what shifts. Layer 2, the face. The face is the most managed part of the human body. People practice their face. They train it. But it leaks anyway, always. Ekman's research identified contempt as the single most dangerous emotion to see on a partner's face. A unilateral lip corner raise, one side only. It means they have decided you are beneath them. Not angry, decided. Anger is recoverable. Contempt is a closed verdict. Fear on the face looks like surprise until you check the mouth. Fear draws the lips back. Surprise opens them. Disgust flashes in under a quarter second. The upper lip rises, the nose wrinkles. It is involuntary and it is honest. And sadness, genuine sadness, pulls the inner corners of the eyebrows upward. It is almost impossible to fake. Most people cannot produce that movement on command. When you see it, believe it. But this is where most people stop. Face reading. That is only one layer. Layer 3, the body. The body is harder to manage than the face. It tells you what the face is trying not to. The feet are the least managed part of the human body. They point where the person actually wants to go. In a group conversation, feet reveal who the dominant person is. Everyone's feet point at them. Watch. The torso follows. When someone is genuinely engaged, their core leans toward you. When they are done, it does not. Self-touch is stress. Neck touching, face touching, wrist rubbing. The body is self-soothing because the mind is under pressure. The bigger the self-touch cluster, the more simultaneous gestures, the larger the internal stress. 1 gesture means mild discomfort. 3 at once means something real is being hidden. Crossed arms are not always defensiveness. In a cold room, they mean cold. Establish your baseline first. But crossed arms that appear only after a specific question, on that question alone, that is a wall going up. Deviation from baseline is everything. It is the only signal worth tracking. Someone who normally talks fast and suddenly slows, they are choosing words carefully. Someone quiet who suddenly becomes animated, you just hit something real. Blink rate. A resting blink rate is roughly 15 times per minute. Stress doubles it. Suppression, active lying, drops it. When someone locks their blink rate down, goes unnaturally still, they are suppressing. That takes cognitive effort. Something is being controlled. Now, layer 4. This is the one that will make you genuinely dangerous at reading people. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of the self that is hidden, not from others, but from itself. Every person carries aspects of themselves they cannot consciously admit, desires, fears, impulses, shame. The shadow does not stay quiet. It speaks through overreaction. Pay attention to what someone reacts to with outsized emotion. That reaction is a window into what they have buried. If a person reacts with fury to perceived disrespect, that is someone who has been made to feel small and never processed it. If someone polices others' morality obsessively, look for the opposite impulse in their shadow. Jung's rule, the louder the condemnation, the more likely the projection. This is not a moral judgment, it is a diagnostic tool. Read the overreactions. They map the buried landscape more accurately than any direct question ever could. Now, the advanced layer. What people choose to talk about, and what they carefully avoid. Avoidance is a signal as loud as speech. What they will not go near reveals what they cannot face. Ask about their relationship with their father. Watch the redirect. Ask about their last failure. Watch the minimize. Minimizers are fascinating. It was fine. Whatever. I don't really care. These are not indifference. These are armor. The opposite is also true. When someone over-explains something unprompted, goes into excessive justification nobody asked for, something is being defended against scrutiny. Shakespeare knew this. The lady doth protest too much. The protest is the confession. Now, let us talk about the voice. Most people forget the voice entirely. Pitch rises under stress. Vocal constriction, that tightness, is the larynx responding to adrenaline. When someone's voice goes slightly higher on a specific answer, not the whole conversation, just that answer, mark it. Speed is the other vocal signal. The slower someone speaks about something, the more carefully they are constructing it. Fast speech under pressure is also a signal, flooding the space before you can ask a follow-up. Silence is the master tool. Most people are terrified of it. They will fill it with something real. Ask your question, then stop. Hold the silence. Let it sit. The person who speaks next in a silence is the person who needs the silence to end. That is almost never you, if you are reading them. Now, putting it together. Reading anyone in real time. When you enter any social situation from now on, your first 3 minutes belong to baseline collection. Resist the impulse to perform. Watch before you speak. Listen before you conclude. Then ask a low-stakes opening question and track everything. Face, feet, torso, voice, speed, eye contact. Now introduce a question that touches something real. Watch for the cluster shift. 1 signal means nothing. 2 is a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. Trust the pattern. Probe gently. Tell me more about that. What was that like for you? Simple, open, pressure-free. The less threatening the container, the more the truth fills it. Now, the harder truth. You are the instrument, and every instrument has its own distortions. Your own shadow projects onto the people you read. What you cannot admit about yourself, you will see, or refuse to see, in others. If you consistently see danger in people who are safe, examine what you carry. If you consistently miss danger in people who show it, examine what you want from them. The most accurate reader of others is also, always, the most honest reader of themselves. This is not a comfortable process. It never is. So let us talk about what you do with what you read. Reading people is not about catching them. It is about deciding your own response with full information. You see contempt on your partner's face consistently. That is not a conversation problem. That is a relationship verdict. You read fear-based compliance in a colleague. That is not loyalty. Do not mistake it for loyalty. You read unprompted over-justification in a negotiation. Slow down. Something is being sold that cannot survive scrutiny. These are not interpretations. They are data. Your job is to collect it without immediately acting on it. Collect 3 signals before you conclude. Move on a pattern, not an impression. And when you have read someone, truly read them, Say less than you know. Knowledge is only power if the person you have read does not know you have read them. Never reveal your read. Ask another question instead. Let them believe they are managing their own impression. They will keep performing. The performance is the data. Here is something most psychology content will not tell you. The best reader in any room is usually the quietest person in it. Not because silence is strategy, because silence is the only state in which you can actually receive signal. When you are performing, you are broadcasting. When you are broadcasting, you are not receiving. You cannot do both at once. The practical implication: before your next important conversation, decide you will speak less than the other person by a margin of 2 to 1. You will learn more in that one conversation than in 10 conversations where you are equal partners in the talking. There is one last thing. This skill will show you things you cannot unsee. You will read contempt in faces that used to look warm to you. You will hear the over-justification in pitches you used to find compelling. That is not a gift. It is a responsibility. Use it to make better choices about who gets access to you. Use it to protect yourself before the wound lands. Use it to understand, not to control. The person who reads the room is not the most suspicious person in it. They are the most sovereign. You were already reading people. You were just reading the wrong signals in the wrong order without a baseline and ignoring the gut feeling that knew the truth first. Now you have the system, the baseline, the face, the body, the shadow, the silence. Use it. If this opened something in you, stay. There is more where this came from.